My name is Zainab. I go by Z. I am 29 years young and I am a single mother of twin boys, age 5. Yeah, I was born and raised in Chicago, Illinois, and I lost my mother at a very young age. And it was really hard. It was like the worst thing of my life because I only knew my mother, and when she left, I pretty much lived a life of an orphan. Actually, when I turned 26 years old, I had lived in over 25 homes at that point, from the moment my mom passed away to, me being an adult now. And I feel like that did something to me. Uh, it always made me feel like I needed to, like, beg, for, for love. Like, I feel like I was always begging for love, wanting friends, even though they weren't right for me. I just started acting up in school, fighting. Like, couldn't nobody tell me anything, you know. So it was really hard for me after she passed away because I found myself trying to find where I belong, and again, feeling like I didn't have enough love around me or nobody really wanted me around and stuff like that. I guess at that point I was used to just all kinds of rejection and people not being there for me. So that was tough as well. And
Around to all the different homes, what was that like?
it was tough. You met your funny uncles and you also had a lot of mean aunts and stuff that, would just maltreat you. People that you looked at before the situation and was like, oh, she's such a nice aunt. And then you go stay with them and it's like, you're being treated like Cinderella, a house girl pretty much. So yeah, I feel like that has played a role in a lot of who I became. Not who I am right now, but who I became. Because, not having a lot of that love and all that stuff, I went down a crazy path. I did, drugs especially. Drugs is my biggest thing, because I craved a love and because I craved something. I felt like addiction became so easy for me. So popping ecstasy, smoking weed, and partying, and having sex with people that wouldn't even, you couldn't even take home to your family or stuff. It was a terrible time for me, And still in all, I felt like the more damage I did to myself, the more I felt, in a weird way, okay, So going through all that stuff in my childhood, when my mom passed away, I was forced to live with my aunt and uncle. And, they are very strict Christians. And that's honestly where Christianity was introduced to me. My mom and my father, they are Muslims. So, my aunt and uncle, they were strict Christians and stuff, even to the point where I wasn't allowed to wear pants. I wasn't allowed to, like, when we go to church, women sat over here, men sat over there. And I feel like it was so forced upon me that I never was interested in this, religion. So, going through the things that I went through, going from house to house and stuff, I found it that, like, I was able to actually find faith on my own. At that point, I was probably like 18 years old. So it's like the more, this uncle would, like, do whatever he wanted to do, or the more my aunt would make it known that I wasn't her child, the more I felt like I needed to talk to somebody. And I feel like that's where my faith even grew in the first place, because I felt like I, was crazy back then, because I would just sit in my room and talk. And that's what we call prayer. But at that time, I didn't even know that's what I was doing. I just knew that I needed to talk to somebody, so I felt like that's where I found my faith, to be quite honest. Not having my mom there, my dad's all the way in a Nigeria, he can't do anything for me. He honestly didn't want to. So, I just needed to talk to someone. The more I talked to this myself, the more I felt like, like someone was listening. And, I started going to, like, youth groups with my friends from high school. Like, we just started going to, like, Bible studies and stuff. And, like, just going around in a group and being able to, talk to people, and not to people that didn't, like, could relate to me, but, people that cared. It was just that little, like, just seeing how much they cared is what made me even want to open up and want to talk to somebody about things that I knew that were not right. And, but still, that was not enough for me to, like, fix the things that I was going through. So just me trying to find my purpose and try to, figure out what it is I want out of life, I went back to Chicago. Everybody told me, don't go, don't go, don't go. But I felt like, I wasn't able to be myself here, so let me go. And I went, and things were good, you know what I'm saying? Like, I had beautiful twin boys, Zion and Zaire. They changed my whole life, and yeah, they changed my life, man. I've been raising them by myself since they were born, and I learned strengths that I never even knew that I had, like, one minute we're in a beautiful home, next minute we're in a shelter. And, like, one minute we have a car, next minute there's like 6 little boys with a gun to our face. Like, it was tough. It was really tough. And I always felt guilty, I'm like, is it because I lived or I had this bad life that, I can't provide that for them? I always felt guilty because it's like, nothing was going right. And my family would be like, oh, send them to Nigeria and all this stuff. And, maybe it's because of the fear that of how I grew up. I was like, no, I'm their mother. You know what I'm saying? I can do this. And, like, I just started more so that thing that I used to do back then, talking, I used to started doing that again. And I just would just pray over their lives and stuff, and just pray to God that whatever generational curses is following, from my side or the dad's side, for God to just give them a better chance that I didn't have. So yeah. And, I feel like when I said that prayer, it was just so much clearer as to what steps I needed to make for the sake of my sons. And I found myself back in Phoenix, Arizona, and, I was dealing with a guy that was just very toxic to me. He was not a very good person to me at all, just cheating on me constantly. But yet, I left that 6-year breakup. I left that 6-year relationship, and I felt like I wanted to die. It's just something about people leaving me and things like that just really, it triggers me, and it brings me back to a very dark place. And that's where the enemy wants you, you know what I'm saying? That's like, to me, I feel like that's the only power the enemy has, is when we're in that dark place. That's where he can whisper and, have us feeling so low about ourselves. And I will never forget that day. I was struggling so bad. I didn't even have money to put gas in my car. My car actually ran out of gas on campus. But that day, it took, like, I just kept hearing voices like, just go to church, like, go, just go. And that Sunday, I woke up with my kids. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what church I was going to go to, but I found myself at Pure Heart, and my car ran out of gas on campus, and I just sat on a bench with my kids. I let them run around and stuff so they don't see, they didn't understand what was going on. And Pastor Bob walked up to me, and he's like, hello, like, you look like you need some help. And I wanted to be like standoffish like I normally am, but I just knew that, if I turn down whatever help I'm gonna get right now, this is it. And I can't keep letting my bad attitude and things like that block my blessings. So, he took me straight to the resource center. I met Angel, I met Arthur, and I feel like that was the day of, like, I honestly feel like that was the day of breakthrough for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, immediately after that, Angel started saying, come attend this single moms church. Attend the single mothers group, come, and I was very hesitant because where I'm from, we don't sit in a group and talk to people about our problems. That's just not something that we do, like. And I would never, like, that first day of group, I sat there and I let everybody go around in circle and talk about their lives and all this stuff about what they were going through. And when it got to my turn, Angel was like, Z, would you like to share? And I said no. And for two groups, that's the attitude that I kept. But yeah, I met Larissa, I met Francel, I met a whole bunch of women, and the first thought about going to a group and stuff, and listening to their stories in the back of my mind, I'm like, these girls are crazy. Like, this is crazy. But one thing that also clicked was like, I did that before. Oh, I've been there. Oh, I went through that. So it was like, it, but I still did not open up. No, I still did not. I definitely was not comfortable sharing, anything about myself, because you go around people and you share things, and people use things like that against you. So, but, I had to learn that, the more transparent you are, the more people are actually transparent with you. And, in this walk that I'm walking with God, I've actually learned, like, I've seen it firsthand. Like, the more I'm open with people, the more that people see that I relate to their story, they're willing to share with me, And because my story is so intense and stuff, and me not even knowing what my purpose was, because I remember one time this lady said, I was in the group and somebody said, oh, you're looking for your purpose, but your purpose is your mother. Like, ooh, I wasn't offended, but I was taken back by that, because at the end of the day, God blessed me to be a mother. That's my responsibility, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't feel like that was my purpose. I felt like I'm more so on a purpose of impact. Like, I'm leading a impactful life because I'm meant to impact others. I'm meant to, relate with others. I'm meant to, I'm meant to counsel them. I'm meant to uplift them. I'm meant to use my voice when they can't use theirs. So, it's just a blessing for me, and how God changed my life around, coming back here with absolutely nothing. And then, to this day, just being able to be like, me and my kids, we have a roof over our heads, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a blessing, so.
Can you tell me a little bit about your kind of faith journey or spiritual journey of, like, talking to somebody, some higher power, whoever that was, and then coming to church, and then what does your relationship with God kind of look like through coming to Pure Heart or transitioning and all those things? When did it become a relationship
with God? So upon dealing with that breakup, I was at a really low moment in my life. Not like, I lost my job. We were in the middle of this crazy pandemic. My kids, they didn't even have childcare or anything like that. So I was in a moment of feeling like I just didn't even want to be alive. And I honestly had set up everything that I needed to do, because that was the move that I was ready to make. And, like, I can't even explain it, but all I know is, like, you felt like this warm something, like some kind of comfort over you. And it's just like, like, don't do this. And, like I explained before, I felt like everything was just leading me to church. So when I came back to church and I met up with Pastor Bob and Angel and everything like that, just even attending this group and finding support in all the other people and stuff, like, it was hard for me at first. But the more I kept attending the group and, coming to church, you know what I'm saying, I felt like slowly but surely, I was being guided in a certain direction. There was even one time I went to group and I was complaining, like, I don't have a job. Like, I don't know I'm going to pay my rent. God just blessed us with this apartment. I don't know what I'm going to do, all this stuff. And, somebody was like, this is your season. This is your season to just get to know God more, get to know your sons more, and get to know you more. And I'm like, what? What season? It's like, I'm not trying to hear that. I need a job. We have to survive. But no, like, slowly but surely, I just feel like, I was being guided in a certain direction. And the more that I opened up, the more that I let these girls know my story and stuff, the more I felt like God was showing me about, who I was and what he wanted for me. So with that being said, I just, like, he saved me. He saved me from like depression. He saved me from poverty. He saved me from anything you can even imagine. He saved me from. I'm pretty sure a lot of people can relate to this. Like whatever you're battling within your life, and then you go to church and then it's like Pastor Dan is just looking at you like, no, you. I feel like that's what it is for me every Sunday. Like, he's speaking directly to me, and I'm not even seeing Pastor Dan. It's like more so God is speaking directly to me. So it's just like, Pastor Angel, she, the way she just took me in and she let me know, because a lot of times too, I was really scared about being, like being my normal self. I felt like I was too hood, or I felt like I was, ghetto. So, she took me in a way where it was like, you are meant to be who you are. None of that scares us. None of that scares us. And I'm like, from the beginning, me needing so much love and just craving so much love and wanting to just be a part of something my whole life. And then here I am now at age 29, somebody's telling me, you could be as ghetto as you want to be. And I'm like, really? So after that, I just started volunteering more. I remember the whole sermon about giving and serving God, and I'm like, yo, me and my kids need to do something. We need to do something, and it was just like trying to hit up all these people like, hey, do you guys need help? Does anyone, and all this. And, God led me to the resource center, and being there has completely changed my life. It has completely changed my life. Just being able to go there on Tuesday and speak to people, bless their day, even if they come for food or they just come for a quick prayer. You know what I'm saying? Like being able to just touch somebody's heart and send them on their way. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the best feeling in the world. And, like it gives me purpose. It sets my week straight. Like, to be honest, Tuesday is my Monday because I look forward to Tuesdays just so it's like, you know what, God, I'm ready. Lead me, speak through me, smile through me, whatever you need me to do to bless somebody, Lord. Like, let me do it, and I'm so thankful that the whole resource team has supported me, has welcomed me, you know what I'm saying? Like, that resource center really, like, it gives me a certain kind of joy I can't even explain to you guys. Being able to just give back to people and stuff, and some people come in there and they'll look at you from head to toe, and the minute you say, I understand, they want to know that you understand. They want to know, like, like, not that they, they want you to be as down as them, but they just to know that somebody truly understands, So it's just like that right there is why I know God is leading me on on a journey of impact. And, I feel like I finally belong to something, and I'm grateful. Like, I'm so grateful. Even my kids, like, we have this strong support group of single mothers. And it's like, if somebody needs help, we have a group message. We all chip in. If you're moving, there's no moving company needed. We're going to get it done. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I'm really grateful to God for just where I am right now. And I'm not fully there yet, but, like I explained to you before, like, just feeling like I'm halfway full. And if this is how good it feels, like, if you guys aren't telling the enemy, like, yo, you're not even welcome back here no more, you know what I'm saying? Like, just like, what? God, go somewhere. But, yeah.
What's your hope and prayer for your boys?
My kids, my hope and my prayer for them, like, is just that all generational curses, be removed from that. Because, like, just being able to just embrace who I am now and who God brought me to be happy with myself. I tell them all the time, like, your mom is great, so that means you guys are great. You know, like I always tell them, like, you know, like even just down to us going back to church, that has changed their lives tremendously. Just having that consistency, knowing that every Sunday they get to go to Hearts and, you know, play with their friends or learn something new. Once I pick them up, they're like, Mom, Jesus loves us. He died for us, Mom. And I'm like, did he? I guess my hope and prayer for them is to always put God first. You know, they seen how much I struggled to even just, you know, provide for them. And, you know, like they admire me so much, but I want them to know that mommy didn't do it by herself. You know, mommy has this God that loves us so much, that gave her all the strength to make sure that we become beautiful boys. I feel like, you know, we feel like we can do it, or we're just trying to find, you know, find ways to cope and stuff, and that's why we kind of like go down these wrong paths and stuff. And I feel like the best thing for us to acknowledge and know is that we cannot do it ourselves. You know, you say that prayer for God to step into your household and help you parent and guide. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, that's my message, because we cannot do this ourselves. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't even want us to do this ourselves. So why even carry all these burdens, you know? And the minute I surrendered all those burdens, my life has been full with peace. And, you know, I love myself because God loves me.